Nate Savage, and welcome to this guitar lesson on 12 songs that only use 2 chords. Now, I often hear from guitar players who are a little bit frustrated because they feel like they can't play anything cool or fun on the guitar with all the chords and strumming patterns that they've been working so hard to learn. So the point of this lesson is going to be to get you playing along to some really fun songs, even if you don't know a lot on the guitar. That way you'll be inspired and encouraged to practice and get better. The idea here is going to be to use the simple chords and strumming patterns that you already know, or to learn some new simple chords and strumming patterns to play along to these songs. And I have kind of simplified some of these parts just to make it easier for you to jump into these songs right away and play along without too much trouble. And there's a pretty good variety of songs throughout this video, so what I would encourage you to do is just watch through this video, write down a few of the songs that interest you, work on them in your daily practice time, and then when you're ready, pull up the track and play along with them. Song number 1 is Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus, and the 2 chords we're going to be using here are an A major chord, open A, and then an E major chord. And I'm going to be hitting these chords pretty quick, so if there's one that you don't know, you can always go to guitarlessons.com and check out the actual shapes so you can learn them faster. But we're going to be using an A and an E. Let's take a look at the strumming pattern we're going to be using throughout this entire song. It's just alternating down and up strokes on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on 8th notes. And if you look at this graphic, this is the type of graphic we're going to be using throughout this lesson to communicate what strumming pattern we're going to be using. On the 1, you're going to see a downstroke symbol, and on the and, you're going to see an upstroke symbol. And you're just going to do that for every beat. So the main strumming pattern will be this: 1, 2, 3, 4. And you may have noticed that I was accenting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, accenting the 2 and 4. That's an important part to the feel for the strumming pattern for this song. So once you have that basic 8th note strumming pattern down, dig in a little bit more on the 2 and 4 to put those accents in. The song starts off with the intro, which is just 4 measures of an A chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we get into the basic structure that's throughout pretty much the rest of the song. You're going to have 3 bars of A, then you're going to switch to an E for 4 bars, and then you're going to switch back to an A for 1 bar. So that's your 8-bar phrase that you're just going to repeat over and over again. It's kind of like 4 bars of each chord, but it gets divided up a little bit. 3 bars of the A, 4 bars of the E, and then 1 more bar of the A to finish that 8-bar phrase that you just repeat over and over again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you play these chords, make sure your fingers are as close to behind the frets as you can get them. That way you can avoid any buzzing. And make sure to stay relaxed too, so you can keep up with the tempo of the song for, the whole 3 minutes or however long the song is. Song number 2 is Jane Says by Jane's Addiction. And the 2 chords we're going to be using for this song are G major and an A major. And one tip I have for you for when you're learning songs like this is make sure you have the individual chord shapes down first before trying to switch between them. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time switching between, whatever chord progression that you're trying to work through. So make sure you have those individual shapes down first. The strumming pattern for this song is 1 measure long, and you're going to use both the G and the A chords. It's a 16th note bass strumming pattern, so you need to be able to count 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. The strumming pattern starts off on a G chord with a downstroke on the 1 E and a. And I'd recommend keeping your 16th note kind of strumming going, even if you don't dig into the strings, just to help keep yourself on track. 1 E and a. Then you have another downstroke on 2, 2 E and then on the of 2, you switch to the A and hit that with an upstroke. And I mute that with the palm of my strumming hand right after I hit it, just to fit the style of the song. So 1 E and 2 After that, keep your strumming going. On 3, you have no downstroke, but keep that motion going. And then you have an up on the E of 3. Don't do anything for the down on the and then for the you have another upstroke. So far you have 1 E and a 2 E and 3 E and then you're going to stay on that A chord for beat 4 and just play 4 consecutive straight 16th strums alternating down and up. So let me play that entire thing for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you have to do to play the verses of the songs. Just alternate and kind of loop that strumming pattern with those 2 chords. And then for the chorus of the song, it just stays on a G chord the whole time. You can get away with that using that same strumming pattern. So 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then back into it. The next song is Dance the Night Away by the Mavericks. And the first time I played the song, I'd never heard it. I was playing a country gig, and the guy said, "Do you know the song?" Nope. It's only 2 chords, an E chord, E major, and then a B7 chord. He's like, just alternate between those 2, 1 measure each, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So if you know that E chord, that's great. You might not know this B7 chord that's voicing for us, so I'll go over that with you real quick. Middle finger, 2nd fret of the A string. 1st finger, 1st fret of the D. 3rd finger, 2nd fret of the G. And then your pinky is going to grab the 2nd fret of the high E string. Leave the low E string out, and you can play all the other 5 strings. For the entire song, literally what I'm doing is just staying on each chord for 1 measure, using a straight 8th note strumming pattern. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, then switch to your B7, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's back and forth. And I am accenting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, the 2s and the 4s, right? So once you have the strumming pattern down and the chord changes too, make sure to throw those accents in to fit the style of the song a little bit. So here's a good example of how you would play this song. 1, 2, 3, 4. Song number 4 is Fallen by Alicia Keys, and the chords we're going to be using here are an E minor chord and a B minor 7 chord. This is our first bar chord that we've touched on so far, but we're just going to be alternating back and forth between those 2 chords. If you don't know this B minor 7, just bar these 5 strings and kind of mute that low E string so it doesn't ring out. Put your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, and then your 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the D. This song is in 6/8, and if you've never dealt with 6/8 time before, all you do is count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You kind of swing one way for the 1, 2, 3, and then swing the other way for the 4, 5, 6. But it's really simple, this song. All you do is stay on 1 chord for each measure, and I'm using all downstrokes on every beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the next measure, change to your B minor 7 chord. Then do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me play this for you so you can see what it sounds like in context. I may put some inflections and things in here and there, but it's pretty simple. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Song number 5 is Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. And our 2 chords we're going to be using are a B major bar chord and an open E chord. And if you don't know this B major bar chord, put your bar across the 2nd fret, across those 5 strings, and kind of keep that low E string muted with your 1st finger, the tip of it, and then put your pinky on the 4th fret of the B, 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the G, and your middle finger on the 4th fret of the D. And it may take you a while to get this chord down, but that's totally fine. You can do that in your practice time. Anyway, the strumming pattern is really simple. It's just down on the 1, and then for beats 2, 3, and 4, you have alternating down and ups using 8th notes. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and pretty simple. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. As far as the structure of the song goes, you're going to give each chord 4 measures and just alternate between each chord. So you're going to have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 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 then switch to an E for 4 measures. And you'll probably notice that I was kind of accenting the 2 and 4 again here just to fit into the groove of the song. Let me play 8 bars of this without talking just so you can hear what it sounds like. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Song number 6 is Copperhead Road by Steve Earle, and the 2 chords you need to know to play this are a D major chord, open, and sometimes I leave this 3rd out on the high E string and just play like a power chord, right? The D, G, and B strings. And then the other chord is a G major chord, just open G chord. The strumming for this song is a 16th note bass pattern, and it's really only 2 beats long, but throughout the course of 1 measure, you play it twice. And it starts off with a downstroke on the 1 E, and So basically, you have an 8th note, and then 2 16th notes. And then you have 2 more 8th notes on 2 and. So the whole thing will be 1 and 2. And then for beats 3 and 4, you repeat the same thing. 3 and 4 and. So just work on getting that down slowly. And then up to speed, it'll be this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So work on that, get it down slowly, and build it up to speed. Now, anytime you switch to the G chord in the song, you're going to have to keep an ear out for when it does that. It only stays on the G chord for 1 measure. So if you're going along on a D chord, G, back to D. It only goes to that G for 1 measure at a time. And the only other part you really need to worry about the song is the shots. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So you're just playing 1 beat of 16th notes, 1 E and a 2, and then stop on the 2, and then 3 E and a 4, 1 E and a 2, 3 E and a 4. Let me just play 4 measures of the D. I'll switch to a G for a measure, and then back to the D. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Song number 7 is Jambalaya by Hank Williams, and the 2 chords that you need to know for this song are C and a G. You can use either open versions or bar chord versions too, it doesn't matter. The strumming pattern for this song is really simple. You're basically just acting like a snare drum for the song and only playing on beats 2 and 4. So for the intro, you start off on a G chord, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you mute each strum you do to kind of keep it short and percussive. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. and then switch to a C for the last half of the intro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's the strumming pattern you're going to be using throughout the entire song. So let me just walk you through like one round of the structure. You would start off after the intro with 2 measures of a C chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then switch to a G major for 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then go to a C for 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. G for 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then to end this phrase, you would just switch back to a C for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you may be thinking that's a lot of chord changes, but just listen to the song a few times and get familiar with where the chords change, and you should be able to feel it. Let me play through this a little bit for you. I'm going to use bar chords this time just because it gives a little bit different sound. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Song number 8 is probably my favorite song in this lesson, and it's Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. And the only 2 chords you need to know for this one are an E minor and a C major. The strumming patterns I'm going to be using here are all downstrokes on just the beats. And then you have another strumming pattern that you can use, and that's just 8th notes alternating down and up strokes. And I use each strumming pattern at different points in the song, so let me walk through that with you. The intro of the song, which is also I consider to be the chorus, starts off on a C chord, and I'm just playing quarter notes there and kind of choking them or muting them for 2 measures on the C, and then just go to the E for 2 measures, the E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the C for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then back to the E for 2 measures. The verse of this song, the next part, stays with that same strumming pattern, all downstrokes, but you move to an E minor chord and you stay in there for 3 measures. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you move to a C major chord for a measure and a half, so 6 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then for the rest of that measure, go back to your E minor. 3, 4. And you just repeat that phrase twice for an entire verse. Let me play that for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. The pre-chorus of the song is where I switch to the second strumming pattern, the straight 8th notes, alternating up and down strokes. And it's 8 measures long, you know, the part that goes, all the lonely people. That's where you stay on that E chord for 8 measures. So let me play all of those parts for you together. 1, 2, 3, 4. And from there, the song just repeats. The idea is to learn each one of those 3 parts and be able to call it up whenever you need to for that song. Song number 9 is another Beatles tune, Paperback Writer, and the only 2 chords you need to know for this song are a G major chord and a C major chord. The strumming pattern we're going to use in this song is almost a straight 8th note pattern, but we're going to play a quarter note for beat 1, 1, and then 2, and 3, and 4. So a quarter note on beat 1, and then straight alternating 8th notes with down and up strokes on beats 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. The intro of the song starts on a G, and it's 4 measures long, so play that strumming pattern 4 times for the intro. 1, 2, 3, 4. From there, the song is pretty simple. You just have 8 measures of G, 2 measures of C, and then you have kind of a stop or a hit on a G chord for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me play that whole phrase for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. The chorus of the song is mostly vocal, and you just kind of break and lay out and just play that same phrase that I just played when you need to throughout the song. It's a pretty short tune, but it's really fun to play with. Song number 10 is Horse with No Name by America, and the 2 chords you need to know are an E minor and a D6 add 9 over F sharp. And it sounds complicated, but it's really easy. All you have to do is get your E minor on there. To switch to that D6 add 9 over F sharp, all you have to do is spread your fingers out. So your middle finger will be on the 2nd fret of the low E string, and your 3rd finger will be on the 2nd fret of the G string. And you can strum all 6 strings. The strumming pattern for this song is the exact same as the last song we just did. It's almost a straight 8th note strumming pattern. We're going to start off with a quarter note on the 1, the downstroke. And then for beats 2 and 3 and 4, you have alternating down and up 8th notes. 2, 3, 4. Now the trick to this strumming pattern is to swing the 8th notes. Don't play it straight like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. You have to swing it, and if you don't know what that means, technically don't worry about it. Just get this filled down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and try to kind of do that same thing with your strumming. 1, 2. Work on getting that swing fill down, and once you have it down, all you have to do is alternate between each of those 2 chords, 1 per measure for the entire song. 1, 2, 3, 4. Song number 11 is Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, and this one technically has 3 chords in it, but it's such a good song I wanted to include it for you. And the chords you need to know are an F major bar chord and a G major. There is an A minor in here, but you can kind of either get away with just using these chords or kind of ignore it, or you can throw that A minor in if that's a chord you know too. So if you don't know an F major bar chord, that's probably the hardest bar chord to make because your finger is so close to the nut and that's so hard to push down. And one tip I have for you for making bar chords is if they're new for you, just work on getting your bar strong before you even try to make the rest of the chord. But put your bar across all 6 strings, 3rd finger, 3rd fret of the A string. Pinky will be on the 3rd fret of the D, and your middle finger will be on the 2nd fret of the G for that F. Of course, you can make a simplified F too if you want to for this song. For the most part, you're going to be switching between this F and this G chord for 1 measure each and using this strumming pattern right here. Down on the 1, down on the 2, and then down, up on the 3, and down, up on the 3. So quarter note, 8s, 8s. And then we switch between each chord using one measure for each chord. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Throughout the song, you're going to be using the F and the G chord for one measure at a time. And the strumming pattern that goes with this is a 1-bar strumming pattern. So if you have your F chord, you're going to have down on the 1 quarter note, down on the 2 another quarter note, and then 4 eighth notes in a row. So 3 and 4 and so down, up, down, up. Slowly 1, 2, 3 and 4 and you can switch to a G. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and back to an F. After the first chorus, there's an interlude that goes to an F for one measure, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then a G for 2 measures, then an F for 1 measure. And here's where this A minor comes in for 1 measure, then G for 2 measures, and then F for 1 measure. So that interlude is 8 measures long, and what you can do is just think about substituting that A minor for that F in the second half of that interlude, and that'll take care of that third chord for you in the song. Let me just play alternating between the F and G so you can get a vibe for this song. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there are some other things going on harmonically with this song, but those chords and that strumming pattern will get you through pretty much the whole thing. Song number 12 is Everyday People by Sly and the Family Stone. And this song uses a G chord and a C chord. But I like to use bar chords for this song, just because it's a little more appropriate for the stylistic stuff you have to throw in here. And the strumming pattern, the first one, is pretty simple. It's a 2-bar strumming pattern. It's on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So you have on the 1, on the and of 4, and on the and of 1 of the next measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The other strumming pattern comes in when the lady starts singing later in the song, and it just plays on every quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the next measure, it switches to a C on the 1, 1, and then back to a G for beats 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, you can use your open chords too there if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I am muting those chords after every time that I play them, just to shorten them up a bit to fit the style of the song. Let me play both of those parts for you back to back so you can get a feel for them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know that's a lot of information, but pick one song out that you like, work on it in your daily practice time, and when you're ready, you can come back to this video and pick another one out. The important thing is that you have fun and that you're inspired and motivated to learn new things on the guitar. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more lessons like this, either like the video or hit subscribe. Or if you have a question or anything like that, you can leave a comment below and I'll get back to you there. And as always, you can visit guitarlessons.com for more videos like this. I'll see you later.